welcome to livealittlehigher.com. This week we read a double portion of Parashah Behar and Bechukotai, and at the beginning of Parashah Behar it says 6 years you shall sow your field, and 6 years you shall prune your vineyard and gather its fruit, and the 7th year shall be a Shabbat of rest for the land, a Shabbat for God. So this is what we know, the Shemitah year. Up till now we still take care of this in the land of Israel. Every 7 years all the farmers stop producing, they stop working the land, they let it be for a whole year. They don't prune it, they don't take the weeds out of it, they don't fertilize it, they don't take profit from it. Everything grows and people can come in and grab whatever they can and eat freely. And this has been going on since the Jewish people entered the land of Israel. This is a commandment of the Torah. And it says, you shall count for yourself 7 Shabbats of years, 7 times 7 years, a total of 49 years. And you shall sanctify the 50th year and proclaim liberty throughout the land and to all its inhabitants. So this is in the book of Vayikra, in Parashah Behar. So apart from taking care of the Shemitah year, which we do till now, there's also another commandment that every 50 years the people of Israel have to return their homes to the previous owners. Anybody that is a slave goes out and he's free, and people who owe debts don't owe debts anymore. So it's this we don't keep anymore. This was only in the times of the temples. Since the destruction of the second temple, we haven't been taking care of the Jubilee year. That's called the Jubilee year. And we're going to see how the number 7 and the number 8 are a big part of our Torah, of our Jewish people, how everything is divided in 7s or 8s, and what they mean, what they represent from the teachings of the Lubavitcher Rebbe. This is a beautiful Devar Torah to understand the concept of these numbers. So the number 7 figures prominently in our reckoning and experience of time. As you know, God created the world in 6 days, and the 7th day he rested. And so we see that the natural world is bounded by number 7. So even though Shabbat is a very holy day, it has a day that is set apart from the rest of the week, it has Kedusha, it has holiness, it is still part of our realm. It's part of the physical world. Although it's like the bridge between heaven and earth, that's what Shabbat is, but Shabbat still represents the world, represents this world. So we see that we have in our Torah, we have in our life, we have the 7 days of work, the 6 days of work, and the 7th day we rest. It's 7 days in the week. We also see how the reenactment of the original 7 days of creation, when God made the heavens and the earth, and on the 7th day he rested. So each Shabbat does complete a full circle. It's a full cycle. And the question is, there's a question that the sages ask themselves. So what does it mean that Shabbat he rested? So he created Shabbat, he created the day of rest. So also the 7th day was in a way a day of work, because on that day Hashem created rest. It was the last creation that he created in the world. So we see from the perspective of each day of creation, each day of creation represents one of the Sefirot. These are the 7 emotional attributes of God. This is the way in which God relates to us. So the first day of creation, which was Sunday, represents kindness, and the second day represents Gevura, which is discipline, boundaries. We see that the second day he separated the water, so he had to use restraint to be able to do this. And the third day was Tiferet, which is mercy, and so on. The last day was Malchut, which is sovereignty. It means like dignity, royalty. So we see here that every day has a full cycle. Every day represents a different attribute of God. And this is why many Jewish cycles are represented in the number 7. We have the 2 7-day festivals during the year. We have Pesach, Passover, which we just experienced, which is 7 days. It goes from the 15th of Nisan till the 21st of Nisan. And then 6 months to the date, we have Sukkot, which is also a 7-day festival that starts on the 15th of Tishrei and it ends on the 21st of Tishrei. Also, when you see the couple gets married, the marriage is celebrated for 7 days. It's called the Sheva Berachot. Sheva means 7. So every day after the wedding, counting the day of the wedding, the couple goes to have a meal with at least 10 men, and they wash for bread, and they do the Sheva Berachot, which are the blessings that are given to a couple in the chuppah. And this is 7 blessings, and these 7 blessings accompany the couple for 7 days, and then after that they're ready to go. And so we see also that when, God forbid, a loved one passes away, it's also 7 days of Shiva, in which the direct family sits down for 7 days and they're mourning the deceased. And there are 7 clean days. When a woman has her cycle, she has to count 7 clean days before she goes to the mikvah and she purifies herself. So we see again that when the Jewish people were gonna go and offer in the temple, they also had to wait for 7 days before they would go and immerse in a mikvah and go into the temple and offer their korbanot. So the 7 day, we see that the 7th is a number that is very much ingrained in the Jewish numerology. We see that the freedom of Passover and the joy of Sukkot and the bond of marriage, the coming to terms with the loss of a loved one, all these features of Jewish life are assimilated in a dimension of 7, which is really the created time, and it's part of this world. And so our years too follow the cycle of creation. We see 6 workdays years are succeeded by the sabbatical year of Shemitah. And this year, actually, when we begin the head of the year with Rosh Hashanah in Tishrei, we begin the Shemitah year. We are going to have from Rosh Hashanah to Rosh Hashanah is a Shemitah year in the land of Israel, in which the land of Israel, the agricultural work comes to a rest. It's suspended. And in the 7th year, and the land produce is declared free for taking for all. So it's a very special time in Israel. It's really touches the core of bitachon, of trusting Hashem. And it's really not only 1 year, because if you think about it, the year of Shemitah, the farmer cannot work his land, he cannot profit from it. Then the next year he has to prepare the land to be able to put the seeds again in it. And then until the next year it's not going to produce. So it's really like around 3 years that the farmer is not benefiting from his land. And the incredible thing about this is that they survive, and they don't have a lack of food. They're able to go to any person's farm and take whatever they need and eat. And this is really giving everything to Hashem. It's a sabbatical year for the land of Israel. It's very interesting. When you go to Israel in a sabbatical year, you cannot eat produce from Israel that you're buying in a supermarket. It's forbidden. You can't do, like, there's people who still sell it, but if you're an observant Jew, you're going to be very careful, and you're going to see that all the fruits and all the vegetables have a special kosher stamp on them that mean that this product was not doesn't come from the land of Israel, that you can eat it because it comes from a neighbor land or whatever. Also, if you live in the diaspora, if you live outside of Israel, you have to be careful as a Jew to also not buy like oranges from Israel or dates from Israel. that year. You have to be careful because you should not buy these products. You cannot eat them unless that you go to a farm and you pick them up and you get them for free. So finally, our sages describe the whole of human history as a 7 millennial week consisting of 6,000 years of human labor. The world is meant to last 6,000 years. We're in the year 5,781. We're very close to coming to the 6,000 year. And so it's 6,000 years in which we're going to be laboring. It's the world of action. We're in the world of Asiya, which is the lowest of the worlds, where it's pitch black, and this is a world where we come to work and we come to bring the revelation of Hashem in the darkness. And then on the 7th millennia is when the whole world will come to an eternal Shabbat, which is the time of Mashiach. And at this moment, the only work we're going to have is to see Hashem everywhere. This is what we're going to be doing. So the Kabbalists explain that the 7 days of creation embody the 7 Sefirot, the divine attributes of God, as I said before, that God emanated these attributes of himself to define and characterize his relationship to the existence, to our existence. So the 7 is not only the element number of time, it is also a created thing and of the created reality as a whole. So it encompasses everything. And so this is especially true of the human being who was created in the image of God. So when Hashem said, "Let us make man in my image," this is what he meant. He meant that he was going to create man with these attributes also. We also have these same godly attributes of kindness, discipline, mercy, resilience, humility, foundation, union, and malchut, which is sovereignty. And so we see here that this when we live with these attributes, when we use them in the holy way, when we live with them the way that Hashem acts with us, then we are bringing godly revelation to the world, and we are acting in God's image. And so these 7 weeks between the second night of Passover to Shavuot, again 7 weeks that we're counting the 7 attributes, we're making all these combinations. It's the counting of the Omer until the coming of Shavuot, which is on the 49th, after the 49th combination. It's 49 days. After that, we come to the 50th day, which is the giving of the Torah, which it's like a jubilee. It's like the completion. It's like the 8th day. So each of the 7 units of time embodies the particular characteristics of its respective sephira. But in more general terms, the cycle consists of 2 primary phases. We have mundanity, which is kol, and holiness, which means kedusha. So what does this mean? The world is separated between the mundane, the material, and the holy part of the world. This world where we live right now has both things. We have both realities. We have a reality that is set apart. That's what holiness means. Holiness means that it's set apart, just like the Shabbat is a day that is set apart. It's different from the rest of the week. It's removed from the week. We stop doing all the melahas, all the works, 49 works that we do during the week. Again, 7 times 7 is 49. We go back to that. It's 7 melahas. During the Shabbat, we stop doing this creative work, which was the work that was done when they were building the temple. And so anything that was done while they were building the temple, these things we refrain from doing on Shabbat. And that's what it means that we put that day apart, we separate it from the rest of the week, and that means that the day is a holy day. So we see also the same concept with the Shemitah year, that we suspend physical work and we take a year in which we give the land a rest, we put it apart, we're not working it, we're not benefiting from it. And so this idea of suspending physical work upon its soil and a claims of ownership on its produce in order to experience the divine goodness and perfection of our world in the age of Mashiach, we must first achieve a state in which there is no jealousy and no competition over wealth. And this is in part the reason for this mitzvot. So we see also that there is the concept of the number 8, and if the number 7 defines the natural reality, it means this world, it's part of our time and space in this world. The 8 represents transcendence. It means that it's a hawk. It's beyond our intellect. It's beyond our comprehension. It's a hawk. It goes further. It transcends. And so it's interesting because Parashah Behar is about it's about the world. It's about the mountain. Behar means the mountain. It's referring to Mount Sinai, the mountain that God gave us, in which God gave us the Torah, which was the smallest mountain of the desert. It was a tiny mountain. Why? Because we have to be humble. This is the whole concept. Preparation for the giving of the Torah on Shavuot is that we have to become humble people, and that's why we have to do the whole counting of the Omer. We have to refine ourselves. When the Jewish people came out of Egypt, they came on their 49th level of impurity. Imagine one more level and that would have been the end of us. But because we kept our names, our Jewish names, our language, and our dress code, we were tznius, Hashem took us out of Egypt because we kept something. But to be able to come to receive the blueprint of creation, to be able to immerse in God's wisdom, we have to empty ourselves from ourselves. We have to be able to be empty. We need to be humble in order to be able to receive the Torah. But then we come to the Parashah Bechukotai, which has the word hawk in it, which means transcend. It means go beyond your intellect, to go beyond what you understand. And there's many mitzvahs that really make no sense. Like, for example, the mitzvah of Brit Milah. It's a crazy mitzvah. Imagine you have a baby, 8 days later, you take him and they do a circumcision on your baby. 8-day baby. And you take him in a mohel, comes a special rabbi that is an expert on these things, and he circumcises your 8-day-old baby. And it's on the 8th day. Why? Because the number 8 represents that which is higher than nature, the circumference that encompasses the circle of creation. So 7 includes both matter and spirit, both mundanity and holiness, but involvement and transcendence come to transcend. We have to go that extra level. And so we see this 8th dimension, if we can call it a dimension, has no limitations at all. And this is what's going to be when Mashiach comes. We're going to enter that dimension of the 8th dimension on the 7th millennial. And so the covenant of circumcision, as I said before, which binds the Jew to God in a bond that supersedes all natural convention, even as it pervades every nook and cranny of life, is entered into on the 8th day of life. The sanctuary, the Mishkan, was also inaugurated on the 8th day, because it was something that was supra-rational, supra-natural. And so the following, so we see that the festival of Shemini Atzeret, which is the 8th day after Sukkot. Sukkot is 7 days, and then there's one more day after that. It's a festival, a loner, which is one more day, which is the 8th day. The 8th day means retention, means to hold on. And there's a parable of a king. Rashi tells it that he invited his children to come for 7 days to his home to have a festivity with him, and then on the 7th day when they were leaving, he felt so bad that they were gonna go and leave him that he pleaded with them. He asked them to please stay one more day. And so this is the day of retention, and this is what the 8th day represents, and whose function is to internalize the transcendent encompassing light of the Sukkah, occurs on the 8th day that follows Sukkot, 7 days. 7 Shemitah cycles are followed by a Jubilee year characterized by liberty and freedom. So 7 cycles of Shemitah, 7 times 7 on the 49th year. Once it's 49 years, on the 50th year, we do the Jubilee year, which has that same concept of retention, of liberty, of letting go. And so we see that the Messianic 7th millennium of history will be followed by the supra-historical world to come, the Olam Haba, in which the divine reality will unite with the created reality in ways that we cannot even come to imagine in the world, where finite and infinite are mutually exclusive. And in the words of the Talmud, in Berachot, all prophets prophesize only regarding the days of Mashiach. Like there's prophecies about when Mashiach is gonna come. Like we have it in the Torah with Bilam, the prophet that wanted to curse the Jewish people, and only brachas came out of his mouth. Every time he wanted to curse them, only blessings came, and prophecies of the times of Mashiach came out of his mouth. They're all recorded in the Torah. But actually, from the Olam Haba, the world to come, we have no idea what's gonna be. So the eights in our lives come in two forms, 8 and 50. For example, 2 7-day festivals, Sukkot and Passover, each culminate in an Atzeret, which is a day of retention. So the Atzeret of Sukkot, as I said before, is Shemini Atzeret. The Atzeret of Pesach comes 49 days later, 50 days later, with Shavuot, with the giving of the Torah. So 50 is an 8, which follows a thoroughly detailed development of 7 dimensions of nature in all its 49 sub-dimensions. Shavuot, the Atzeret of Passover, is such an 8. Our exodus from Egypt marked the onset of a 49-day process, as I said before, which was a process of refinement of us being able to come and receive the Torah. Because the way we came out of Egypt, there was no way we could receive the Torah. We had to really refine ourselves to be able to come and receive it. So the Jubilee year, the Jubilee year, or the Yovel, how it's called, 7 7-year Shemitah cycles, each culminating in a year of suspension and transcendence of the material, are followed by a 50th year, which is a year of liberty in which all servants, including those who had sold themselves for lifetime labor, a slave could only work for 7 years. After 7 years, he had to be let go free. But sometimes the slave preferred to be a slave. He didn't have anywhere to go. His owner took care of him. There's laws, very serious laws of how to take care of a slave. And he was better off in the house of the owner than being free. So he sold himself for the rest of his life to be a slave. And so we see that on the 50th year, on the Jubilee year, he had to go free. He couldn't stay there anymore. He had to go free. And all the ancestral lands that had been sold reverted to their original owners. And the Jubilee year represents a state of true freedom, in which rather than just suspending the earthliness of the land, we freed of all the restraints of materiality. So in other words, our experience of time, which defines practically everything we do and achieve, comes in various forms and configurations. There are times and situations in which we live our lives completely within the natural cycle, which is in the 6 days of work. And there are times in circumstances in which we relate to a supra-rational, natural 8th dimension. So, but only in a general abstract way. Finally, there are times and circumstances in which we access an 8th, that is a 50, which is 7 years times 8, and then we come to the 50th. So we see here that the Torah instructs that the Jubilee year is to be proclaimed throughout the land to an inhabitant thereof. The Talmud interprets this as a stipulation that the special laws of the 50th year are enacted only when the land of Israel is fully populated by the Jewish people. So right now we cannot have a Jubilee year because we're in exile, we're in the diaspora. We only had Jubilee years when the Jewish people came into the land of Israel with Joshua, and they were able to keep it till the destruction of the first temple. After the destruction of the first temple, when the Jews came back for the second temple, many Jews didn't come back to the land of Israel, and there were Romans living there, and so it was something that was not being able to be taken care of. So today, our lives are seemingly endless chain of Shemitah cycles, every 7 years, this is how we go, 6 days of work, and then we come to the 7th day of rest, and everything is in the 7. There are certain things that we add the 8, like the Brit Milah, and that we have the 8, but it's a struggle. What we see here is that we're still living in a blind struggle. We are struggling. And when Maimonides writes, Mashiach will arise and restore the sovereignty of David to its former glory and power, build the holy temple, and gather the dispersed of Israel. In these days, all the last laws will be restored. So until Mashiach comes, we'll keep up the 7 cycles. We have a glimpse of the 8th, like with things that happen on the 8th day, like a circumcision, but basically we know what we're looking for. We know what we are waiting for, and that is to come to a time where we're all gonna be free, we're gonna be liberated, and we're gonna be able to retain the holiness of the 7th day. So I want to wish you a blessed week, and remember, live a little higher. Thank you.